You ever feel like you're just not getting the most out of an AI like ChatGPT? Like there's some secret handshake, some insider trick you're missing out on? Well, today we are unlocking all of it. We're going to go from viral internet hacks all the way to some fascinating new research that is going to completely change how you talk to AI. So, this all kind of blew up with a viral Reddit post. A user named Stuck in Good made this really bold claim. A few simple codes could unlock ChatGPT's real power, saving you time and giving you way better results than almost anybody else. A pretty big promise, right? So, what are these supposed secret codes? Okay, so the post broke down a bunch of simple prefixes that you could just tack onto the beginning of your prompts to get totally different and supposedly better results. Let's take a look at some of the most popular ones. First up, you've probably seen this one, ELI5. It's an old school internet acronym for Explain Like I'm Five. And it's just a super quick way to tell the AI, hey, drop the fancy words, cut the jargon, and just give me the simple, straightforward explanation. It works on pretty much anything. Then you've got Humanize. You know when you get a response that just sounds robotic? Or it's full of those awful corporate buzzwords like revolutionary or game-changing? Yeah, this prompt is designed to strip all that out and make the writing sound a lot more natural, a lot more, well, human. And the list just keeps going. You've got TLDR for a quick summary, Jargonize to make something sound more professional, and it even understands established frameworks like the Feynman technique or a SWOT analysis. The whole idea is that these one-word commands are huge time savers. And for a lot of folks, this was a total game changer. I mean, this comment from user rabbit_goosey really says it all. If you're new to this stuff, finding these little shortcuts can feel incredibly empowering. It's like you've just been handed a key you didn't know existed. But, it's the internet. Of course people had opinions. Skeptics jumped in pretty fast, point out what seems kind of obvious, right? These aren't secret codes. They're just well-known acronyms and business terms that the AI understands because it's been trained on, well, the internet, where these things are everywhere. So that leaves us with this really interesting question. Is this whole thing just a clever trick using common phrases? Or did these Redditors accidentally stumble onto something way deeper? A fundamental principle about how we should be talking to these AIs? Well, it turns out some incredible new academic research suggests that, yeah, there is something much deeper going on here. It looks like those Reddit users were actually onto something big, even if they couldn't explain the science behind it. Let's dig into a study that really shines a light on all of this. A team of researchers started looking into what happens when you add what they call emotional stimuli to your prompts. They gave it a name, emotion prompt, and honestly, what they discovered is pretty wild. Okay, so look at how simple this is. On the left, you have a totally standard direct command for the AI. On the right, it's the exact same instruction, but they've just added one simple human-sounding sentence at the end. This is very important to my career. That's it. That little bit of emotional context is the whole trick. Now, these weren't just random phrases. The researchers actually based them on real psychological theories. Things like encouraging the AI to self-monitor, to check its own work, or using encouragement to build its self-efficacy, which is basically boosting its confidence. They even used prompts that make it rethink its answer, like just asking, "Are you sure?" So, they had the theory, they had these emotional prompts, but did it actually work? This is where the numbers get really surprising. So on a set of really complex tasks, it's called Big Bench. Think of it like a really tough obstacle course for AI. Just adding an emotion prompt improved the AI's performance by a staggering 115%. I mean, that's not just a little improvement. That's a gigantic leap in ability, all from adding a single sentence. And this wasn't just a fluke with one specific AI. The researchers tested this across a whole bunch of different models, GPT-4, open source ones like Llama 2, and they all got better. This tells us it's not a quirk. It's a fundamental principle of how these models actually work. But here's the kicker. It's not just about getting better performance on a test. They also did a study with human evaluators to see if the quality of the answers changed. And it did. Performance went up by nearly 11%, but even more impressively, the answers also got more truthful and more responsible. So the takeaway here is really important. The people in the study found that the answers from the emotion prompt were less likely to just make stuff up and more likely to give safe, sound advice. The AI wasn't just getting smarter, it was getting better. Okay, this all leads to the biggest question, right? Why? Why does this work? I mean, the AI isn't actually feeling pressure about your career. It doesn't have emotions. So, what is really going on under the hood? This chart from the actual research paper gives us the answer. It's a bit technical, but it shows something called input attention. And you can see that the emotionally charged words like career, success, achievement, get a much higher attention score. The AI is basically taking a mathematical highlighter to these words, telling itself, okay, pay extra close attention to this part. And that brings us right back to the beginning. The AI isn't feeling a thing. It's a massive pattern matching machine. And it has learned from reading trillions of words that when we humans use phrases about our careers or success or being really sure about something, that the instructions that follow are high stakes and require a more focused, careful response. The Reddit codes and the scientific emotion prompts, they work for the exact same reason. They are just clear signals for pay attention. Which leaves us with a really fascinating thought to end on. For a while now, we've been treating AI like a calculator, a simple command line tool. But if it actually responds better when we tell it our goals, when we explain the stakes, and when we even give it a little bit of encouragement, what does that mean for the future of how we interact with these things? It seems the most effective way to talk to a machine might just be to be a little more human.